how does a person resist the temptation of serving money?
Um, Man, so I think that's that's this is tough. Okay,
Yeah,
honestly, this is really legitimately challenging in life is to not allow your money to control you,
come on.
right? So this is honestly one of the points of emphasis for me. I really believe that you must keep command of your finances, right? Because if you don't, what happens is we spend our lives trading time for money.
Yeah,
Right? You'll work any job you have to get money, right? And you'll miss the calling of God. You'll miss the purpose of God. You'll miss joy and happiness in your life because you're spending all of your time working simply to try to get money. And what happens with that is you become resentful and you become a slave to your financial situation,
wow.
right? The only time slavery is ever acceptable is when you bring your money under subjection to yourself. You should be in full command of your finances, having your money at work for you.
Yeah,
And what happens is if you learn how to control your money and put your money to work for you, it actually makes it so you have to work less over the
mm,
course of your life because the money starts accumulating more money for you. This is where investment and things like that become into play.
yeah,
I make it a point, right? It's very, very important to me to always have money working for me to generate more money. Since I've learned that, it really has changed my life and
mm-hmm.
it has put me on a path that I really feel is going to allow me to be financially free years before I would if I wasn't implementing that. But it's tough to serve something that you have control of, right?
Ooh, that's
To
so
answer
good.
your question, when you have control over it,
Come on.
I have no temptation to serve money because I have command over it. So
Wow.
once you find how to do that,
Yeah.
the temptation has to flee from you, right?
Wow. You can't serve something or someone that you have control over. That is, man, Will, I don't know where you come with that, but that was good. Good. Wow. Man, I have nothing to say. But yeah, that was good. So, that's the struggle. People will forsake their family, they'll forsake their spouse, they'll forsake God because they're trying to get to the next level. But what I realize is when you get to the next level, you'll never be satisfied, and you're always trying to get to the next level and get to the next level, get to the next level. So how do you my follow-up question to that is how does someone what are telltale signs that I'm starting to serve money or I'm starting to yeah, pretty much serve money? What are telltale signs for that?
Yeah, I think the ways that you can recognize that money is kind of taking over control of your life is one when you start to see that you are overextended
Okay.
in your obligations, right? Because I think once you start to see that you're doing things beyond what you're able to, you're no longer in control of the financial situation, right? So that's one aspect. I think also, as tough as it is to say, because I know a lot of people do what they have to do,
Yeah.
when you find yourself working places you absolutely loathe and don't want to be, but you're too afraid to make any moves to change towards where you want to go
Mhm.
because of your financial situation, then again, we're in a position where we're not in control, right? And it
Yeah.
doesn't, I understand that there are people that really like are up against it, right? And
Yeah.
you're in a spot, you have to work, you have to do those things in order to keep, food on the table for your family. But what you want to start beginning to do is taking the steps that you can to move you to a position of strength away from this position where you're being directed to do certain things because you need the money or you're out overextended from where you currently can within your means. So those are signs that, hey, you know what? I'm no longer in control of my situation.
Hmm.
You start to see those flags come up, you need to be aware and start taking some steps to move in another direction.
So it goes back to what you said. It's so important for people to pay off their debt. Like the reason why people are overextended, the reason why people don't want to make moves, because they're like, if I leave now, my student loan debt is gonna go on forbearance. Like my credit card debt, they're gonna, mess up my credit score. So I think you hit it on the head so much that you can get financial independence when you pay off your debt. But like I stated before, is there's so many people that we try to compare with other people. And then we try to we try to get the new cars and all this other stuff that doesn't give you any weight.
Yeah.
It just puts more weight in your
absolutely, absolutely right about that. I'll say one thing as a follow-up to what you just mentioned.
Yeah.
I usually will teach people about managing their debt or getting out of debt, that you actually want to do it in what I like to call a two-tower situation, right? And what I mean by that is you have a debt tower, right, that you're trying to knock down, right? You're trying to find a way to lower your debt and get out of the situation. What a lot of people will do is they'll take all of the extra money that they have and try to throw it at the debt. Okay. Now, the issue with that is this: life oftentimes brings you a lot of unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah.
And if you're not properly prepared to address those circumstances, then you ultimately end up increasing your debt to address the emergencies. So what I teach everyone to do is lower your debt at the same time that you start saving money. So what you're going to do over time is start lowering your debt in pieces, but also strengthening your savings and emergency fund.
That's good.
And so you take the extra money that you were going to put towards your debt, and sometimes, I'll have them split at 50-50 or 60-40 or whatever works for your situation. But the key is you want to pay some of the debt down, but also strengthen yourself for emergencies. So what happens is if something comes up that I wasn't expecting, I have some cushion to address it and my debt doesn't rise, right? So I address it with this money, I start replenishing this, and I keep working the debt down without allowing it to continue to grow, because some people are in a situation where their debt is going to take years to pay off.
Yeah.
We can't wait 5 years paying off debt and never put any money in savings or investment, right? You can't do it that way, because ultimately what will happen is you'll find yourself scratching and clawing at this mountain of debt and never strengthen yourself enough to really address it. And what you'll find is if you save money over time, there'll be moments when you can take a large sum of money you saved and hit your debt and knock a credit card out. So you still have, what do I always talk about? Control, right? You have control over the money in your savings. It can still go to a debt payoff whenever you want it to, but it's available to you if you run into an emergency at any point in time. So a strategy like that can help you get out of debt and also still feel like you're seeing results in your bank account where it's growing a little bit. Because if I'm always broke and I'm paying off my debt, I'm going to get discouraged.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to become hard for me to keep battling this mountain, and I never see any progress on the other end.
Wow, that's really good. I never heard that. I always heard like attack your debt, but to build up your emergency fund while attacking debt, that's really good. So my follow-up question to you is, like, in your budget, what is your allocated percentage to go to savings or emergency fund?
Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about how I do it, which is a little bit different, I think, than most people. So what I usually do is, now I have a very set budget. It's not restrictive, it's just set. I know exactly how much money is coming in, how much is going out, right?
Yeah.
So what I usually do is this. I already have in my budget, obviously, a tithe. I also have a retirement savings amount that goes every 2 weeks. Okay. And then I have an amount and then what I do is this. I pay all of my bills.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I live out the month. Any money that's left over at the end of the month is automatically saved, right? So my next paycheck comes in and I restart the process. But any money that's left over, I immediately save the whole amount.
Okay.
As soon as I get paid the next paycheck. right? And the reason for that is it doesn't have a set percentage, but I have a routine,
Yeah.
right? That allows me to be able to live a life that's really comfortable. I can go out, I can have fun and do certain things, but I always have money going into my retirement. I always have money going into my savings, and then I have money that can go towards debt. Now I don't, I'm debt free now, which is great, right? I'm putting in the work, right? So that's good. But the point being, I got to that point by doing it this particular way.
Okay. So if you had to recommend someone, because there's the avalanche approach, snow debt ball, what's it? Snowball method.
Snowball is good.
Yeah. So, or like the highest interest. So
That's
so which one would you suggest to someone who's trying to get out of debt?
So what we usually do for debt situation is really customize the way that we pay off the debt to the way the person lives.
Okay.
Okay? Because you have to do something that the person can execute.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
So it's like you can say, hey, everybody pay off your debt this way, right? But if you are a person that struggles with a certain aspect of it, you're not going to be able to execute the strategy. So all of those strategies actually have merit, right? The
Yeah.
main thing I would say is find the strategy that you can effectively execute
Mm-hmm.
on a consistent basis and then stick to your plan. My grandmother, right before she passed away, one of her last words of wisdom to me was, William, make your plan and finish your plan. Actually execute it. The one thing that we see people do time and time again in life is come up with good plans. All right, I'm going to work out 3 times a week. I'm going to have a diet. I'm going to do this. But they don't execute what they say they're going to do. So she really impressed on me to execute your plan. So what I would suggest to everyone is, again, one thing for sure you want to do, I think, is strengthen is tower, right? Is strengthen your savings and pay your debt down as well while you can. But then you're always going to do debt stacking, right? Which is once you pay a debt off, you don't change your budget. The money that you were paying towards that debt, you start to stack against the next debt.
Okay.
What I do is I split that, right? Half of that extra money goes to savings, half of it goes to debt payoff. And that way you continue to use the same tower strategy, but you're also using debt stacking in tandem with it to be able to work your debt down.
Okay, so is you just want to customize it for the person. So you look at their habits, because
Yes.
because I agree with you wholeheartedly. Because there's so many people with so many plans with no action to it,
Right.
and I think we have to have actions to the plans we got, or we're just gonna be frustrated 17 years down the line. It's like, why didn't this work? Because you never did it.
Yeah, exactly. One point though that you made that I think is important, like if there is a consideration like to be made, like a recommendation, what I would tell people is look at your monthly budget, right? And identify the debt that you can eliminate, which will basically free up as much monthly obligation as possible, right? So for instance, let's say we have, like 2 credit cards. One of them I have to pay 150 minimum, right? The other one I have to pay $50 minimum, right? So theoretically, in most cases, you want to try to eliminate the one that is within range for you to pay off, but will free up as much money from your monthly obligations as possible. So you can use that monthly money to go towards the next debt or to go towards your savings. Now, I understand that sometimes the one that frees up the most money is the heaviest debt. So that's not the one you want to go after because it's going to take you too long to pay it off. So you want to identify the one that you can legitimately pay off in a short amount of time to free up some of that monthly obligation money and then redirect the monthly money, that obligation to some of the other debt and to secure savings.
That's really good. Will is coming with the man. Okay, Will, I see you.